Oh, hello, and welcome to Al Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. And tonight we have, for Ichor Fall 2018, 20 Minutes in the Dark. So, you can check this out at Kris Straub's Ichor Falls Quiet Community website. I think it's also on his Chainsaw Suit blog where he posts other stories. And also the published collection of Ichor Falls, a visitor's guide. So I guess we'll do a rundown. We'll start a rundown with this. So this girl, Kay, or Kaylee, as we find out later, wakes up around 3 o'clock in her house, and it's completely dark out. It's her door's closed, her window's closed, and all that stuff. But she wakes up to a start because she thinks she hears something, and she's terrified because she's been reading too many spooky ghost stories about the town she moved to for school. Mm-hmm. And while none of her friends in town seem to seem affected by these stories, she's super affected by these stories. It was super effective.
It was.
Mm-hmm. And so she's for the next 20 minutes, she freaks out. Or she's paralyzed in fear, constantly wondering, speculating what those noises are coming from, and then the door to her house or to her room opens for reals, and she realizes that these sounds were real the whole time, and she's freaking out, and she's oh god, and then it cuts to presumably a news article the next day, where a man is shot and killed after a stabbing, and we find
after
out
a botched robbery.
After a botched robbery, which ended in a stabbing.
Yes.
As we find out that a man, I can't remember the guy's name.
I don't think it says his name.
It does actually, and his age.
36.
36. I think it's something. Dark Side, something complete.
Travis Wayne Garrell.
Yeah. Was shot and killed after police confronted him because he was witnessed leaving the house he tried to break into, or the house he broke into. And then when they went to check the house, they found that it had been rummaged through, and that Kaylee had been stabbed fatally in her bed. And so...
But it says, it's weird that there was no signs of struggle.
Yeah, there's no signs of struggle, and in fact, the phone was right there. She could have picked it up in the 20 minutes. She had apparently been...
Well, the cops didn't know it was 20 minutes.
Yeah, but the cops say... it leaves off kind of with that. Where it's it's weird.
It's almost like that's something we'll talk about in our...
I know, it is. No. Anyway, yeah. So, yeah, she...
This is rundown.
So, yeah, she... Yeah, basically it ends off with them that it was actually a burglar and that she didn't do anything because she was too scared to move, basically. Because she was basically deer in the headlights, kind of scared.
Yes.
About what was going on, and it took 20 minutes or so to 20 minutes in the dark, as the title shows. Rundown over. I'm sorry for how hack and slash that was.
Yeah, apologize to yourself.
Yes. So yeah, that's it. So I guess we'll go into grammar inquisitions. Mm-hmm. I have none. Mikey, extend through. I have none that I cared for, or cared to bother with. So
I have a butt.
Don't we all?
Well, he might not have a butt.
Well, he says he does.
This might be a special occasion.
Oh, okay. That's true.
And I got the 2 sentences beforehand, so...
Cool.
That should help.
I just want it for context.
Yeah.
It sometimes changes things.
The bedroom door was shut. Window shut. But there's that coat rack across the room with her hooded jacket on it. The folds in the hood hanging softly open to the floor. Sleeves wrinkled, but still neat at the sides.
That's also around a sentence, which I'm probably going to end up rereading for one of my actual thoughts, as I have the paragraph there.
A small sentence at the start And then a run-on sentence that starts with a but.
Yeah. Now, my counterpoint and my counterpoint to myself, yes, I think that but should be there, or like that but could be there, like it'd be fine. However, they should use however.
So what you're saying is
It could
the but
be,
shouldn't
the
be
but,
there.
The but can be there, but it doesn't. It shouldn't be there as a but. It should be there as a however, because it is it is still part of the thought process that's going on in the previous couple of sentences, which are technically a thought form because she's thinking all these things in her head.
Yeah.
But it could be you could use a however instead of.
Every single front but could be replaced with a however.
Or another better or a better word, or like something a little bit more high level writing word, like
Well, the problem is that she's describing things in the room, so doesn't need to be a but there. Like you could change it to "There's a coat rack across the room."
No, you can't.
Why not?
You know why? Because the previous sentences were the doors are closed, the windows are closed. Ergo, I'm safe. However, that coat rack in the corner has something sinister about it, that she's thinking about it being sinister.
Yeah, it's contrasting to the normality
safety,
of the rest of the room.
And the safe space that she's in. It's the conflicting thing. That's why there should be a however there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or go the coat rack, however, is sinister.
You could go that way as well.
If you don't want to start with
it would basically be the same thing.
Well, I know, but it's avoiding the front butt situation by moving the butt elsewhere and changing the butt to something else.
Yeah, but at that point you might as well you could also just say, oh, you couldn't do but like the coat rack, but
no, exactly. That's what I said.
It had to be changed to the coat rack. However,
yes,
but yeah, no, it could go either. The however could go in the front or the after the coat rack.
Yes,
but it has to be there because it is a contrary.
However, it has to be there.
However, it has to be there. Because it is a connected. It is continuing the thought process of the previous sentences.
Yes.
Or the idea in the previous sentences, while also contrasting it. Therefore, that's why it's a however.
Indeed.
Or a but.
Aren't you glad that you gave us context this time?
Yeah. Also, I'm really glad I started looking up, why things are the way they are in grammar.
So we're
I can
we're the grammar police every episode.
Well, yeah, of course.
Everyone expects it.
Exactly. It is the grammar inquisition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so do you have any...
Wait, of course you asked me the one time I pick up my glass of water.
Yep. Well, I told you I only had one.
So,
He did say it. He's evil with kindness.
So I have one, but it's sort of generally speaking across the entire thing.
Okay.
Because this is another story that there is a lot of thought being portrayed. And the last time this happened, I brought the same thing up, that I find it annoyed when they use italicized font for thought, specifically when the font that is used barely changes for the italics. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So...
use bold or something like that even.
I know italics is the way to do it, but I just hate it when the style of font... the version that font uses for italics is barely changed.
I think, honestly...
So it's kind of hard to notice looking at it.
Yeah. I think a way I might do it, I would have done it, would probably use brackets.
Yeah, but the entire thing would be covered in brackets.
I mean, the whole thing's basically like a thought a person's thoughts. It is and it isn't, actually, because there's parts of it that kind of break away, they're describing, it's an omnipresent narrator describing what Kaylee's feeling.
There is a narrator that is describing the scene, and then
Kaylee's
thinking about
thoughts. And then there is I guess the unseen narrator is also the one reading the news article at the end, because there's some things in that article well, not article because it's not laid out like an article, but it kind of is done up like an aftermath kind of thing. That the police, I really don't feel would have known. The fact that she was apparently, they knew she was awake for 20 minutes before she died.
Does it say that?
Yeah, it literally, I have it in my...
It says that she's awake for 20 minutes?
She died with the phone right beside her, untouched. We don't know why she didn't feel compelled to dial to help with the first sign of...
it says nothing about 20 minutes there.
Yeah, it was peculiar that 20 whole minutes passed between the break-in and her death. And then that they thought it was weird that she didn't pick up her phone... or feel compelled to dial for help the first sign of trouble. It's she was why don't they think that she was just asleep for that? 20 minutes?
Here's the quick assumption: she's a heavy sleeper. So, and depending on how he broke in, he may not have broken any windows. He might just picked a lock, which is quieter. And if she's sleeping, her being killed, she didn't have a chance to do anything
because he could have done it really quickly. Yeah, like no struggle at all.
Exactly.
But,
so
it just seems weird to
jump into conclusions there.
Yeah,
it's more almost like the murderer is writing that.
And he's a ghost!
Yeah.
Because he's stuck in Ichor Falls.
Yeah, why not? Fuck it.
Anyway.
Either way, italics are weird.
Yeah.
I wish that writing used something else. Last time I mentioned this, I suggested doing single quotations instead of doubles or something like that. I just hate italics. But you do what you gotta do.
That's fair. All right.
And that's my only grammar-related discrepancy.
Cool. All right, into actual thoughts. So, she moved her phone aside to see the bright red numbers of her nightstand radio. 3:03 a.m. Oh no, the witching hour. Kind of. Actually, I think it might have been more spooky related to have this whole situation start or happen or end at 3:33 rather than 3:23.
That's the thing.
However, maybe it's intentionally not 3:33 because this isn't something supernatural, like a hint or a foreshadowing that no, it's just a burglar, and she was scared. She was because of her overreaction and some of that of being scared was what doomed her. Yeah, it was nothing supernatural. So.
Conversely, because I have a note on the same thing, I saw it the opposite way. Like, them putting it as 3:03, I'm like, oh, well, that's going to leave it close to the witching hour, so this could be supernatural right from the get-go.
Yeah, and I guess, it says 3:33 is the devil's hour, the witching hour, so technically all 3 o'clock should technically be the witching hour.
No, they all have watches that are all properly set up. Is the witching hour when things start or when things end?
I think it's when things start.
Is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in the I did read it. I did reread it, and now I've forgotten it again though.
Yeah.
The article, but it's basically 3:33 is when the devil is at his strongest.
Okay.
Or supernatural forces are at its strongest at night.
Now, it doesn't say, but what if...
I mean, however. It's not annoying, isn't it?
It's dialogue. It doesn't matter. You jerk.
Sure. Semantics.
Moving on. Anyways, your thoughts.
So what if she's actually from a different time zone that's off by half an hour, and when she moved to this school, her alarm clock is still off by that half hour, so it actually is 3:33 when she looks at it.
Yeah,
that's actually kind of clever.
If she only checked her phone rather than the analog digital alarm clock.
Yep.
Because that's one thing. That's the other thing about that she moved her phone aside to check the radio. It's I guess it's because this was probably written around 2009-ish. Around the same time, or at least I think that's when it was published.
When did people start becoming
I'm just
completely attached to their phones?
This was published around 2009, so I mean, they probably they still had flip phones and stuff like that around that time.
The good old days.
So nowadays, I think of it as oh yeah, I would check my phone first. I wouldn't even bother. Even though I have an alarm, a digital clock on the other side of my room.
Yeah.
I can't. I wouldn't look for that because I'd be too bleary-eyed. This is closer, so I just check my phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, she checked her phone because the phones usually keep tabs globally, or their global time and stuff like that. Or not global time, but the time zone update where you are.
Or do you have to connect online to do that?
No, it's through your cellular, I think.
Is it?
Yeah.
And some older cell phones don't have that functionality too. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It was a darker time.
Yep.
Yep.
The darkest timeline.
Yeah, but that's super interesting.
Yeah.
That she just didn't change it yet.
Yeah.
Because she's recently moved.
Yeah, she had moved there for school and so yeah, she hadn't gotten around to... I mean, you do have to change it.
But here's the thing.
Because it does as soon as you turn off... But a lot of alarm clocks, when you unplug it to move and stuff like that, you have to redo it. So unless she was stuck on her old timeline.
But if she was using her old cell phone, which didn't update...
Yeah, that's true.
Time...
Okay. Yeah. No, that works.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or the alarm clock is battery powered. So,
well, I mean,
when you pack it, it's still on. It still has power.
No, that generally doesn't work. I've never seen them, like, even when they're battery powered, they wouldn't last that long. Like,
For a move?
For a move and stuff like that, yeah. Like, especially if you're moving time zones.
But they do last. That's how they work. Because battery powered.
Yeah, but
you put batteries in them.
I'll concede this.
It lasts for months.
I'll
Otherwise, people would
concede
use
this
them.
point because we're just going around in circles.
Either way, neat idea. Yeah.
Yeah, it is a neat idea though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, despite me trying to counter it, it is a neat idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right, on to the next thing. Kay originally didn't want to buy into all the stories of dead locksmiths seeking vengeance, the undying and insane trapped in an endless black forest near her house, children burned alive in their schoolhouses. But once she'd given in, Kay couldn't help but read all the literature she could find about Ichor Falls' terrible past. To be fair, I'd totally do some digging if I found out my town, or the town I lived in, had a bunch of ghost stories and like horrible like past and stuff like that. But that's just me, technically.
And Kay as well.
I guess Kay as well, even though she's terrified of these things.
Also, slight... go ahead first.
Okay, I was just because I do have like 2 more notes here. Also, I believe the schoolhouse burning is a reference to the Totenkinder holiday mentioned in the local legends in the intro of Ichor Falls, both the Quiet Community website and the Visitor's Guide. The endless black forests is the Stillwood King, or is a reference to the Stillwood, where the Stillwood King lives, which is coming up next week on our show.
There's a little teaser for us.
But I'm not sure about the dead locksmith. There's a local legend, again in the intro section of Ichor Falls, of a stitched man, but he was a tailor, not a locksmith. So it might just be a tease to a story untold as yet.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Since the town is America's most haunted city, as the story directly says, I'm sure there's all sorts of like stories out there that in the ether, like in the out in the imagination of like anybody who wants to like write stories about Ichor Falls, waiting to be told. So like this could just be like kind of a one-off like sentence like story, or like a one-off like tease for a story that will never get written. Or just like to show that there are like a bunch of other like stories, kind of like how the Hounds of Tindalos happened. Lovecraft mentions the Hounds of Tindalos in a single story, never explains what they are, and then years later, another author in his circle of colleagues or like inspired writers actually went ahead and wrote a story for it.
Nice.
So it could be a similar situation. If there is a story out there of a locksmith seeking vengeance in Ichor Falls, please let us know, audience, because I would love to read that. Because that is, I was like, I don't think there is one. When I
that doesn't mean that isn't there in the universe.
Well, that's exactly it. Like
it is something being told, but it's not written for us to read yet.
Yeah, I think in the context of the story, it's just there to add that there is stories out there that we haven't read yet.
Yes.
Or that we haven't really heard yet, and they're just like mentioned. It's like, oh, like there's this story and this story. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so is that...
Also, before we continue, is there a difference between vengeance and revenge?
I don't...
Because you corrected yourself. I'm like, I think those are the same word, though.
I don't know. I think,
like, if you're trying to get vengeance on
vengeance
someone...
is like getting back at somebody, and then revengeance is getting back at somebody again.
Well,
or...
No.
No, if you need revenge on someone, they wronged you.
Revenge is going after someone who's wronged you.
Yeah.
And then avenging is avenging... Is vengeance... for avenging someone else.
We may not be able to protect the world, or we may not be able to defend the world, but you can be sure we'll avenge it. Avengers. The first movie.
So there's your answer. Revenge is personal, avenge
is you're doing for someone else.
Yeah.
Neat. Which makes sense, because the Ghost Rider is a spirit of vengeance, not revenge.
Yeah.
So he's revenging other people for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Neat.
Cool. Mm-hmm. All right, next one.
Where the fuck were we?
The bedroom door was shut, window shut, but there's that coat rack across the room with her hooded jacket on it.
However,
the folds in the hood hanging softly open to the floor, sleeves wrinkled but still neat at the sides. It wasn't hard to imagine a body or torso floating inside that jacket. The hood lowered to conceal some terrible sunken, bleeding face with eyes like wounds. Any minute now, the sleeves would slowly lift up and start reaching for the bed. And that's when he appeared. The Bye-Bye Man.
The Bye-Bye Man.
I say that because in the Bye-Bye Man, that's literally a scene.
Oh, is it?
There's a coat rack, and then suddenly, like, it starts like, forming, like, giving, like, adding form to it, and then it's the Bye-Bye Man actually coming out in the dark.
It's forming feet and legs.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, that was the, that was my, not so much a comment or, like, an actual, like, thought. It's just, like, if anything, it's a good effect. It's a good, like, descriptor of a...
That being said, you jump to conclusions.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. Like, that's the whole point of the story.
Yeah.
She keeps jumping to conclusions.
It's like, what if it has this weird bloody face in there?
Yeah. And speaking of that, she squinted a little and could see her closet door, not shut all the way. Open just an inch, that inch seeming far darker than all the dark corners of this room combined. What stares out from that inch, she thought. It's just Maddie. From Curious Little Things.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's probably just chilling. She's actually living in, like, that hotel that was mentioned in that story. That's actually, like much earlier time period, and this is now, like, when it's been turned into condos.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
into apartments. Yeah. And the next one is, suddenly Kay felt cold electricity crawl up her spine at the distinct ringing sound of metal jangling, like silverware crisscrossing. Like a cannibal from a cartoon, her skin crawled. What cartoons are you watching? No, seriously. I'm kind of asking for a friend.
Sure.
But yeah, like...
That's the thing.
Really?
Like, whenever you see anyone eating anything in a cartoon, they always have, like, a fork and a knife going shing, shing, shing.
Oh, okay, I guess so, yeah. I just, like... I was more, like, confused about the cannibal from a cartoon. I was like... But I guess that makes sense, because there are cartoons... No, there are old cartoons that I've seen where, like, the person's planning on eating somebody, and they're like, shit. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Like Elmer Fudd and Bugs Bunny.
I mean, they're not cannibals. They're
they're both sentient beings. They might as well be.
I guess that's true. Yeah, that's the weird cartoon ethics of is like when two entities are sentient beings. Is it cannibalism even though they're not the same species, or is it because is it cannibalism to eat another person, like another being that has intelligence?
Yeah, because like that's kind of. I don't know if you look up the definition of you can look it up if you want.
Cannibalism means that you eat the flesh of your own kind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But does that mean
that does not mean it's okay to eat other sentient beings?
But like because like of your own kind. Well, technically, by being two cartoon characters, you are the same kind. Kin, yeah. You may be different races or species. But you're still a cartoon, so there you go. Is it? Yeah,
like you can define that. You can define that as your own kind being you are a sentient being.
Yeah,
that is your kind.
Yeah, it's like if if chickens suddenly gain sentient. If we suddenly like started having a foghorn.
Foghorn Leghorn?
Foghorn Leghorn. Suddenly became, or like basically a chicken became Foghorn Leghorn like style. Like I say, don't eat me. I'm against all this Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Uh-huh.
Would that be cannibalism if we were trying to eat an intelligent chicken because they are now intelligent like us, like they've been uplifted to a human intelligence, like whoa.
Well, it's like, think about it in any kind of situation. Like, think of any game, any movie, or anything where there are furry, anthropomorphic characters.
Yeah.
A human eating them would be fucked up.
It would be, especially because they are sentient beings. So, I guess, I don't know, I guess that's, it's weird. Cool. Alright, move on. And my next one is fucking long. Sorry, guys.
I was taking a nap.
She thought without forming words as she sat petrified in the dark. The old hag, quite dead, reaching from her grave for the top of her tombstone to pull herself out, like some single-rung ladder to hell. Stop it. She used to live in this house. More muted thumps from the cupboards. She was murdered in this bed. Shut up! She's missing one small bone from her calf, and she's come back for it. No, stop it. Or the ghost of a child, a poltergeist. Not haunting one house, but the whole town. Shut up! Making it his playground in death. The sound of something heavy dragging. Vibration. he often finds an unwilling playmate in his victims. No. But if you're lucky, he will show you what the flames did to his tiny body. Enough! I like... Okay, so while I was actually reading this, not just like now, but like while I was actually reading this, I liked the growing emphasis in her thoughts of trying to stop thinking about these horrible possibilities that she's just imagining. Mm-hmm. It adds emphasis and like to like the fact that she's trying to like stop herself and failing, and builds a growing fear that she's feeling with each new thought or each new addition to that thought. And that's really my note. It's just like I really enjoyed that final like process there.
Yeah.
And that's my actual thoughts. So we go to final thoughts. So.
All right. So I'm gonna take it back to the clock.
You couldn't have like touched on it when we were going back there. Okay.
Well, because it's the sentence after the clock.
Okay.
So she moved her phone aside to see the bright red numbers on her nightstand radio. 3:03 a.m. She sat very still in the pitch darkness.
Okay.
You have an alarm clock giving off bright light.
No. I'm with them on this actually, because my room has an Xbox One with a fucking. I have to sometimes unplug the charging cable off my Xbox One because the green light at the end of the edge of it will illuminate my entire room and actually cause me not be able to sleep because it's so bright in contrast to the rest of the darkness in my room. Or my computer's like hard drives and stuff like that still give off a glow after the computer's been turned off, and it illuminates that one part of that room with a very faint blue. It's very faint. It would be almost. It's very subtle initially, but like when you have when you're been immersed in darkness for like a couple of hours, and you wake up, my room's lit up.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. My alarm clock doesn't do that.
Okay.
Then again, my alarm clock doesn't wake me up very well, so...
Yeah.
It's like running its last legs on like low energy. It's like, you get up if you want. I don't know. That's the power level of my alarm clock.
But yeah. No, I can...
It doesn't work very well with me because the numbers aren't yellow, so they don't stand out to me.
And now the other thing is like, I know... The other thing is like red light is generally used to like dampen the effects of like bright lights and stuff like that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So it might not have illuminated that much because usually I have like then the lights that are usually illuminating my room, like the small little pinpricks of light and stuff that illuminate my room in the pitch darkness are generally white or green, like bright like lime green lights. So, like, I don't think
honestly,
I've ever had an issue with the red light.
Personally, I don't see that it would light up a room. That's the whole idea of a clock. It's there to tell you the time, but it's not supposed to keep you awake.
I will
give you my alarm clock so you can plug it into your room next time.
That's the thing. Like, that's the exact reason why they use red instead of any other color on alarm clocks, is so that it doesn't like illuminate it doesn't cause you to like lose sleep because you can't sleep with the light on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it does emphasize that it's bright red numbers.
Yeah, I mean...
So...
Okay, but conversed, like, red glowing numbers against black, they are bright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would be, but...
Yeah, so which means that she can see.
The numbers, specifically, not anywhere else.
Yeah, actually that's...
I will give you my alarm clock, so you can plug it in. I disagree, but you can have your own thoughts.
No, I think... Well, yeah, we've already talked about it. Like, yes, some lights in a pitch dark room would illuminate, but technically, red alarm clock lights are designed that way because they diffuse that light.
We'll get back to you guys next week with the, after our scientific
when Mythosbusters starts again.
Indeed, yes. Yeah. We get back with our super scientific findings.
Yeah. And then, I mean, there has to be a source of light somewhere in her room to be able to make out
that the closet is darker and such.
Yeah.
Window, moonlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then
it
wouldn't be pitch black.
That's to be fair, like when you first wake up, it is like it's pitch black because you can't you're still your eyes are adjusting to like the darkness. And
but your eyes are already adjusted to darkness because your eyes were closed.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
If it's pitch black, that's fine, but you can't see
pitch black. Might also just be a flowery descriptor for how dark it is.
It doesn't actually mean I
That is-
cannot see a
yeah,
goddamn
exactly.
thing, because it's possibly the wrong word.
Yeah.
So it's really a grammar-related discrepancy, I'd have to say.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then.
Cool.
Say,
And another thought that I have is, why is there no mention of the light coming from under the door? Because burglars need light to see what they're stealing.
yeah, at the very least, there should have been like some kind of like flickering light of like a flashlight or something like that. Unless the person, unless whatever the guy's name was had night vision goggles on.
Oh, I'm sure.
Spec-Ops goggles.
Totally, yeah. Or he is a supernatural creature as well that can see in the dark.
Yeah,
But he was also shot in-
He also did not want to give away. He did not want to release that knife out of his hand.
Because
Even the
that
cops
is
were-
evidence.
I guess, but like
If he dropped it and ran, they would still get him.
That's true.
So it's either he dies with it, or he drops it and then dies later.
Or gets incarcerated. He may not die.
Might as well be death.
Wow. Incarceration is not the same as death, man. It's not.
You cannot live your life anymore.
It may be worse or better depending on your point of view. But it is
That's
not.
what I'm getting at.
No, but it is not always like worse or as bad as death.
He could also get the death sentence, which is death.
I mean, he might not. Maybe he only killed one person.
Oh, that's fine. That's not a big deal at all.
Logistically, according to the justice system, he might just get life in prison.
Yeah.
Depends on how well his
Which means that his actual outside life is dead.
or postponed indefinitely.
Life in prison.
Indefinitely.
So killed.
No.
Alright, whatever.
All right.
I still feel that there is a supernatural entity involved in this story.
Yeah, Betty.
Because of the fact that there was no signs of struggle.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
that's actually in my notes. My final thought.
she's afraid, frozen, but you see a burglar, you're gonna go, oh crap, and do something.
Not all the time, man. Like you don't like. It's a person by person basis, honestly.
Have you been personally burgled?
Have you been stabbed?
No, but
Do you fight for your life?
I've been there. It's fight or flight or
Yeah.
freeze. Fight, flight, or freeze.
Oh, there's a freeze.
Yeah, they've added. There's a third one.
Yeah,
fight,
it's
flight, or freeze.
in the D&D rulebook, so it's real. It's real.
Well, no, it's also Delta Green and Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, see? So it's legit.
But no, yeah, like fight, flight, or freeze is a like you have those are the three options in terms of when something surprises you. It's why deer are like stuck in the headlights, like
Because what do I do?
yeah.
Yeah, but it still seems odd that there was no signs of any struggle.
It just shows how. Okay.
Also, the entirety of this, she has been like going through the insanity of her mind.
Yeah, she's too overactive.
At that point, when he shows up, well, was it a he? Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was a he.
Either way, she could be like, "Oh, there's a monster here," and like, "Oh, well, I can't really see his face. I wonder if he's this." What is that? Is he holding? Is it a knife or is it like plasma energy?
or is it some claws or something?
Yeah, assuming all these random things instead of doing the rational thing of, oh, it's a person. And,
I will grant you that, like, again, the town is fucking haunted, so maybe the town itself, in a way, is affecting her, like, overcharging her imagination and basically locking her mind in fear. Or it could just basically be emphasizing or, like, embellishing, basically empowering that fear mechanism and, like, basically overpowering her mind to stay frozen while the burglar just kills her.
Or it's because of the burglar. Burglar himself has an aura of fear around him. That's why today it was so bad for her.
Yeah, like he generates a fear aura within like 30 feet.
Yeah.
Like a night god from Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, totally. So he's going around stealing things. He's assuming no one's home. And he looks in and he's like, oh shit, someone's here. I've been spotted. Well, I guess I gotta do this.
Yeah.
It wasn't really his plan, but...
Yeah.
Well, the way I spun it
Okay.
was that the burglar was actually in the wrong place at the wrong time and is the unsung hero of the story.
You're gonna have to elaborate a little
Yes,
bit on
please.
that. How this would be in the SNTF universe.
Okay, so earlier, she describes looking into the closet and how there's an opening.
And how, like, Maddie's in there.
Yeah.
Stalking around.
And then it goes on to when the door to her bedroom opens,
And Maddie comes out.
Her eyes are fixed on the crack. It doesn't say which door she's looking at.
Did you pick up the papers just to make the sound effect? And then
No, I actually thought I might have had the that part in my notes.
Oh, okay. I do, actually.
Kate's eyes fixed on
Oh no,
the
I don't have
crack.
it. Damn it.
Her face locked in a silent scream. She had not invented the sounds; they were real. And now the door open. The door is open, and now and it's here. It's now inside. So
It could be coming from the closet or the door of the room.
Her bedroom door creaked open.
yes,
So slowly, achingly.
yeah. And then her eyes fixed on the crack.
Well, one...
It doesn't say.
One would assume it would be the crack that it just mentioned.
It would not be the for your hypothesis or hypothetical.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be the crack of the closet,
Yeah.
but because the sentence right before this one is her bedroom door creaked open slowly, achingly. Kay's eyes fixed on the crack should be.
Yeah, but it's not the same paragraph either.
Yeah,
so
but it's still the same. It's a continuation of the same the same scene.
There's two ways it could be fixed. Focus on the crack of the bedroom door,
Yeah.
or focus on the crack as it widened, explaining that it is opening.
Yes.
The only door that is opening
would-
the front door,
Yeah.
the bedroom door.
Yeah.
Regardless, without it, it is open to interpretation that we're unsure.
Yeah.
Because she could be so fascinated on that one
yeah.
that it's like, yeah, that opened, but
Yeah. So basically,
that's so dark.
at the same
Looking into the umbra. It's a shadow within a shadow. I'm being legit. I'm not making a Warframe reference. You don't need to flip me off.
For the eyes at home, I'm eyeing Gamer Yellow with evil eyes, or just like glare.
Yes.
yeah.
That being said, it is also a Warframe reference.
Yeah.
2010 thing.
So, what we don't see is the entity leaving the closet and the burglar opening the door at the same time. So the burglar sees some shit
There's like,
because it actually goes to possess the girl, which is why she was still frozen in fear. And then
it's doing some like mind fear effect on her.
on
some
her,
situation.
petrification
and
delay.
then he, not knowing what's happening, stabs her to death because clearly the entity's taking her over.
He's trying to save her.
Yeah. And that's...
Or he goes to stab the entity and it goes through and
Yeah.
stabs her.
Yeah.
He tried real
and
hard.
failed.
Yeah.
In the end, it didn't even matter
And
because they both
then...
got killed.
No. The police report was made up by the SNTF
As a cover-up.
as a cover-up so that they now have a new member that's seen some stuff because
They've got a friendly.
that special ability to see the monster is not innate in everyone.
It's because he drank the water when he was young of Ichor Falls. They gave him the sight, the shitting.
Yeah, and she didn't because she recently moved there. So that's why no monster was described in the story because she can't see it.
It gave him the shitting. Not the shinning or the shining, the shitting, because it gave him the sight to see things, and it also gave him the shits because he was drinking creek water.
Yeah,
Like
It's a
shitty creek water.
yeah. That's a term now.
So we can add. So which one of you guys is playing this character in the next, SNTF game?
I thought we were being monsters.
You guys could be a player, like a human character as well, who's seen some shit.
We shall see. You guys have to tune in for that upcoming game. Al dente actual play of the
It's
TF
actually called
game.
actual play rigor mortis.
Oh, really?
Yeah, APR.
Oh, okay.
Everything must be must attune to the ADR like acronym, or be the round or some.
Is there no way to do an ADR with just switching the words but keeping
it's easier
it?
this way? Al dente roleplay, I guess.
No, keeping it specifically ADR.
Yeah, al dente roleplay, because roleplay is one word.
Yeah.
But I like actual play rigor mortis because it's an actual play of al dente rigor mortis style games. Anyway, we're
So then people don't assume
we're
we're
off
just
topic.
doing random roleplay stuff.
Yeah.
But not in the tabletop fashion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in the weird way. Ugh. Anyway,
I mean, some people
moving
tune in for
on.
Yeah, so that's how I added it to the SNTF.
I am okay with that, surprisingly.
We'll stay indifferent.
Yeah. The way I thought you were going to go with it was he walks into the room as a burglar with a knife or whatever, and he sees the creature. And then he just straight up goes, nope, just backs out and leaves and runs away from the house. And the cops see a dude running out of the house with a knife, shoot him dead, and then go up and she's dead. But his knife has no blood on it. They don't say whether it does or not.
Yeah.
So he was literally just running for his life and got shot by the cops.
See, that would have been my, like, I know that would basically be my my go-to. It's just like, nope.
Yeah.
I'm out. Defend us straight. That's where they heard him. They heard him, like, smash through a window.
Yeah, totally. Ran
Also,
past the monster.
those cops are fast. Think about it.
Yeah, for once. Most of the time, cops are so dumb in these.
Because, like, he was witnessed leaving the building by, assumably, a neighbor or something like that. And the neighbor called the cops, and the cops were like, bam, there. They just, like...
In 20 minutes.
No, not in 20 minutes.
20 minutes.
She died 20 minutes. She died after 20 minutes. Okay, no.
Okay,
like,
listen. Okay. He broke in. 20 minutes later, she died, and he ran away. So 20 minutes later, the cops were outside to shoot him.
Oh, so somebody saw... Wait, so somebody saw him go into the house?
Or the silent alarm.
Okay, yeah. All right, add some logical, like, house security into this.
You're welcome. That being said, they'd probably be there way quicker than 20 minutes.
Yeah, it would be a lot faster than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a few minutes, like, before it goes off, to, like, so it's not just like, oh, somebody, like, came
like
away
15 minutes before it goes off.
Yeah. Also, I mean, the town of Ichor Falls is not that big, so, I mean, like, it probably only takes, like, 2 or 3 minutes for the cops to...
That's my point.
Go anywhere.
They would get there so
like,
quick.
even Alethea, which is one of the, like, newer developments.
It's 3 o'clock in the morning, there's no traffic.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. Probably no actual alarm system, but someone witnessed it and called the cops.
Yeah.
Someone was, like, walking
the dog, or...
way late at night. It's like, oh, weird, that's a broken window, I'm going to be the nice person
or like,
and call.
oh, what was that? Was that a broken window? Was that a window smashing? Or was that like, hey, what's that guy doing there running out of Kaylee's house?
Well, that can't be the case, because they can't get there in 3 seconds.
Well, maybe he wasn't caught. Maybe, no, again,
Oh, that's true. It doesn't say he was shot on the front lawn. He could have been shot.
Yeah, he could have been on the run, like and the cops caught up to him, basically.
Mm-hmm. Like someone.
That's a lot of assumption.
Yeah, like someone got his license plate as he's driving away. It's like, oh, saw a guy running away from this house with a knife. Here's his license plate. Go get him.
Yeah, assuming also that he has a car. Like he might have just been on like running. Like,
that's true.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
So that's my actual thoughts. Game again.
Let's see. I don't think I have any left. So my first note I took after reading the whole thing, and essentially just me saying that I like the mundane twist on all this, because it stops me from having to do it. Because I always do that. That's my thing.
You always mundane, or there's no mundanitize.
There is now, thank you. Yes, I mundanitize things all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like sanitizing.
Yeah, but mundanitizing. Yeah.
Alright. Is that your only note?
I had another one that I crossed it out. The only other thought I have written down is early on there were 2 paragraphs that started with a minute crept by, and then the next one was like another minute. Specifically, like a paragraph describing what happens in that minute.
Yeah.
I kind of wish it continued that for 20 minutes.
Oh,
20 paragraphs, so you can...
But yeah.
Like the tension building as you know, it's almost 20 minutes, what's going to happen? I kind of wish it did that. It would make it longer, but that's not a bad thing.
It sometimes is, but because sometimes the stories can overstay their welcome. But if done right, like if like drawn out, like with actual like creepiness, and stuff like that, I could see that being really good.
With escalation going through it and all that, yeah.
Because as the story is, like we do get some escalation of her fear, but it's kind of more of a summary. But it's still, to me, it was still fine the way reading it here. But yeah, like every moment, every minute was like. Yeah. Build up to that.
Because those 2 were like, oh, that's cool. And then, another. So that all happened in a minute. This another minute. What's the next minute going to be like? And then it just kind of flies past.
Yeah, because it does seem like the 20 minutes, like, there's no, like, kind of lead up to it. Like, it's just, he broke in 20 minutes before he killed the girl.
Yeah.
Like
the time is such a big focus on this, but yet it's only focused in 2 paragraphs.
Yeah, and 2 sections, like the beginning and the end.
Yeah, so we know it's I guess what happens in when did it start? 303.
303.
So we know what happens from 303 to 304 and 4 to 5, and then the rest of it is just kind of.
Yeah, it's just like she's not thinking about the time. She's thinking about what's going on, and maybe that what she was thinking was what she was like. Basically, her to her like time started slowing down, but like really it was going normal. So she was like thinking very slowly, and almost like her mind was paralyzed with fear from like over imagining and dreading all these different outcomes. To the fact that she couldn't react at all.
Well, yeah. But still,
Yeah,
like,
again, there's
the
no
clock
time.
is brightly there, so
Yeah.
she'd know the time.
Well, she wouldn't be looking at the time at the clock. She'd be staring at the crack in the door in either door.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like it seems like weird that like the time was the main like it's the title and the focal point of or like the core theme. Mm-hmm. Yet we only get the beginning we only get the beginning part of it and the end part of it, not the middle section. Or the middle section doesn't address it as much.
Yeah, it's just kind of those two paragraphs, and then the end where it just says the cops somehow knew it was 20 minutes.
Yeah,
That was a pretty bad cover up by the SNTF. They should have not made it so specific like that. Eh?
Yeah. That's what really draws out the fact that it was an SNTF writer.
Yeah, of course.
That needs to
clearly
be shown that his mistake,
We gotta come up with a I can't wait to like come up with we gotta come up with an NPC that's just like made like who's just like his entire job
He's a
is to
newspaper editor.
write up cover ups and stuff like that, like
Yeah.
cover up like articles and stuff like that.
I'm glad you're getting into this finally.
Well, since we decided to make it like an actual like maybe like consider making it a role playing game like a tabletop game.
We've been world building for months.
Oh yeah, we have been world building like since you guys came up with it in the Patreon games or the Patreon episodes.
Tune into Al Dente Reloaded and Revelations to see what we're talking about.
To hear some more about the SNTF.
Yes.
If it's evolution or de-evolution.
Evolution. It cannot go backwards. It might, you never know.
Anyway, is that all your notes?
Yeah, I only had a few. One of them got marked off.
Okay.
The
So,
the
final
333 situation.
Yeah. So final thoughts then. I did have a little, like the last little blurb, but we kind of touched on it already. So I'm just going to go into my actual notes then. And it's just that was just with regards to like them, like the police, like why she didn't pick up her phone is beyond us. Like she had 20 minutes to do so, even though we don't
jumping
know,
to conclusions.
even though we have no idea why she how she was up
Yeah.
for 20 minutes. But the story's interesting in that it takes being gripped with fear or stuck like a deer in the headlights, like that motif, and like being stuck in like a deer in the headlights because of dreadful speculation that when something real happens, you're unable, or it's able to take full effect, and you're like completely stuck there in that moment, and like you're just paralyzed with fear. Like that whole like there's a whole bunch of different like phrases for it, like or like turn of phrases for it, like deer in the headlights, paralyzed with fear, gripped with fear. Like I've been saying, this story, I feel like this story does that's basically the center core of the story is just like being so gripped by your imagination or by like all like the dread that you can't react when something real happens to you.
Yeah.
Also surprised me as a reader that something mundane happened that wasn't supernatural or anything like that in Ichor Falls.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, eh?
Though I could
Or
propose,
was it?
I could propose the idea that the town's reputation is what really did her in, or at least help or added on to her overactive imagination, and it certainly didn't help her in the end. So yeah, I like the idea. Like I liked the story and the idea that it was telling. Yeah, I'll recommend it. I wasn't really sure how I was going to recommend it. If it was going to be a partial or a full, I'll give it like a light recommendation. Like it's pretty good. It's a pretty simple story, and it gets its core idea across, and it's not like in any like offensive way. So yeah, I'll recommend it.
Did you catch the twist before it happened?
Yeah, I think I knew. Well, I read it before, right?
Oh, well, then that's cheating.
But it was years ago. But I mean. Yeah, I kind of saw it coming, but like at the same time, it was still kind of surprising that nothing's. Because for some reason, I remember it being supernatural, and then when it was just a guy with a knife, I was like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is it did get you.
I guess, yeah.
It's okay.
In my wishy-washy way, yeah. But yeah, that's my final thoughts. I would recommend it.
Yeah. I don't really recommend it because, I mean...
Wow, you scumbag.
It could have been even more super mundane because when you're alone in a house does make noises.
Yeah.
So...
Those could have been half the noises that she was hearing.
Yeah. But, I mean...
And then she started hearing sounds like something moving like in the cupboards and then like a scraping sound along the walls.
Yeah. And you could just have a raccoon break in.
Oh. Like, there'd be no harmful thing.
She was discovered she'd had like she died of fright. Like, 'cause she overacted so much that like she just had a cardiac arrest.
Yeah.
Because she's like super like overstressed basically from nightmares and stuff.
Although if you go the super...
Sorry, not to cut you off. I thought that's actually where I thought was going to go at the end was that like she had actually like died. She hadn't died from like a stabbing. She died of like fear basically, or like died of fright because she was so terrified about what's going on. Or the guy stabbed her, but she was already dead because she was like just died of fright and then like stabbed her just to make sure. I don't know. Yeah, sorry.
I feel that looking at this through the supernatural aspect that I did makes it so much better.
So is that a personal recommendation?
Yes.
In the eyes of that.
Yes.
If you look at it through the supernatural?
Mm-hmm.
It's weird. When something's super supernatural, we make it mundane, and then because we like that idea better, we say that I would recommend that story more. Because we made it up, because we're so smart. And then, when it's super mundane, we think of supernatural ways to make it, because we think that would be better. And our idea is better, because we're so smart.
Yeah.
It seems like no matter what anyone writes down, it's the wrong answer.
It's almost like we're contrary to popular belief.
It's weird. So, unto me, I suppose, because you guys are both staring at me. Not saying anything, so, yeah, I'll straight up recommend it. It was fun to go through. It left enough clues early on that I thought it was going to be supernatural, and the non-supernatural aspect I liked, even though it stopped me from putting that into notes and doing it myself. But I liked that. It was fun. And I know it wasn't brought up, and I have to put this out there as a potential for what happened in the story. Sleep paralysis.
You're not wrong.
Because for all we know, she could have been laying there, having this horrible sleep paralysis nightmare.
And seen a dark shape, which is usually what happens in sleep paralysis.
And essentially, while sleeping, she heard the noise of the door opening, and that made her imagine someone coming in to the room.
But doesn't she
unable to
sit
move.
upright, like in the first couple paragraphs?
I don't think it actually says she does.
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
It does, yes, you're right. I forgot about that, because that's the only movement she does in the entire thing.
She tightly puts it, and like she wants to put the covers over her head, but she just like has them like right to her face, tightly.
Wait, so she's sitting up the whole time?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hence, probably, it'd be creepy if that's how the cops found her, like dead, like just like this, like.
She would be, probably.
That'd be creepy as hell.
Weird, because I imagined her lying down, even though it specifically says at the start that she went...
It's because you kind of like pass over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So maybe not sleep paralysis.
Well, I mean, it still could be, but like she thinks that she's like up like that, but she's actually just like she's dreaming but still awake.
You have no control over your body in sleep paralysis.
Yeah, but you still you might think that you're up a little bit, but you're not actually.
I don't know. Damn it. Either way, it was fun. I like the slightly more supernatural aspect. I like the way it is as well. So, regardless whether or not we go with our fun sideways or the way it is, I liked all of them equally. They were all fun. And
I can't choose which one I want to go to prom with. You're all.
I'll just take all of you. It's fine. Plenty of me to go around. So, I'll recommend it. It was fun.
Well, this was this week's episode of Al Dente Rigor Mortis. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below, wherever this gets posted, whether it be on Kiwi6, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. We're on Twitter. Mikey is at the E Stands for Evil. I'm at Review Cultist. The Gamer in Yellow is the Gamer in Yellow, but without the W, because Twitter hates him.
As always. Everyone does.
You can also leave us a review and rating on iTunes or any streaming site that you might find us on. You can also send us emails at aldenterigormortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERI GAMORTIS@gmail.com, where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss in the show. And if you'd like to check out the title cards for each episode, you can go to crazonstudios.tumblr.com, crazon.deviantart.com, or on our YouTube channel, Al Dente Rigor Mortis, where you can check out the videos of each episode. And if you'd like to help support the show, you can go to Patreon, look up Al Dente Rigor Mortis, and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 here, but really any little bit helps. We have extra episodes, early access to episodes, special episodes like Al Dente Real Talk, where we talk about movies and videos or films that have similar leanings to Creepypasta or like the similar like themes. And Actual Play Rigor Mortis, which is sometimes we run games of the tabletop variety based around creepy stuff or creepypastas and Al Dente Rigor Mortis themed. And we also have 2 shows from my hosts and not me at all, including
Al Dente Reloaded at the $5 tier, where Mikey and I go back to the good, the bad, and the ugly pastas that the cultists did in the past, and read over them and see what our thoughts are on them. And then Al Dente Revelations at the $2 tier, where Mikey and I, again, continue with our thoughts after listening to the episodes that the cultists and the Doctor did back in the day, and possibly have a mind-breaking revelation while doing so.
Mm-hmm. And for all of our patrons that are helping support the show already, thank you immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of each story that we've done on the show, thank you immensely. For our listeners, thank you for listening. Honestly keeps us going. And for the authors, thank you for writing the stories, because really wouldn't have a show otherwise. And I really like creepypastas, so like the good, the bad, the ugly. Right? I don't. Regardless, I get entertainment from it.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
like some, especially when they're like really good, they're really good. When they're bad, yeah, there's some. I still find some goodness in the bad ones.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you immensely.
Has there ever been a story that you read? It's like, I did not enjoy this whatsoever. Like, not to put anyone on blast.
I honestly like. You guys know me. The listeners know my mentality at this point. I generally don't hate a lot. Like in terms of, I generally try to find like something good in everyone. In every story we do.
Yeah. But there have been a couple times where I don't recommend this.
The one for some reason really irked me, and I honestly don't know why. In terms of other than just like maybe just like a bad mood when I was like reading it, was Picture This. I know we keep bringing it up. We shouldn't, but
I don't recall that one. To be honest.
It was it was actually the debut creepypasta of Mikey.
Oh well, that explains why you were so upset.
Yeah.
Well, no, because it was basically a story where like it was a serial killer, and the writer kept throwing in these random statistics about death in like different states and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And by the end, it turned out that the serial killer was a creepypasta writer who was creating shitty creepypastas to hunt down critics of creepypastas.
Oh yeah, you told me
like
about that.
Again, I know it's probably just a. I think it might have just been like a bad mood at the time when I read it, but like just that idea, like because I usually like that idea of like meta like plot and some of that, or like the metatextual like aspect of those stories. Like the Bruja was kind of like that, and I love the Bruja.
Yeah.
But Picture This was just like seemed to be outright attacking critics of story writing. Yeah. Like you don't attack like you shouldn't. I mean, and again, it could just be. I hate to bring this up.
I shouldn't have mentioned anything. I'm sorry, guys.
I feel like again, nothing against that story or like the writer or some of that. At least regards to the story, but like it just seems like. Yeah, you can parody like that kind of, or you do satire of that kind of stuff. Where like, oh, I'm a writer and I hunt down critics of my writing, but it just seemed like kind of like a cheap shot against critics.
I can't remember what movie it is, but there's a movie where like they had a fake Siskel and Ebert in it, and the director killed them.
That was Godzilla.
Although in
Godzilla they didn't kill them. They actually. They added them in as like to be jackasses and be assholes, but they were like really fun characters. So like even even like Siskel and Ebert even like picked at Roland and Emmerich in the Godzilla movie for doing it because like their characters weren't even killed off or anything like that. Like kind of like a missed opportunity.
Like they wanted their characters to die.
But like another one is like M. Night Shyamalan did Lady in the Water. And it had a lot of film critic stuff, and like the critic who was like always overanalyzing and like knew all the tropes of movies and story narratives and stuff like that, gets like killed off because he's like overthinking everything. He's like, oh, maybe, like, oh no, this is the part of the movie where a character like me gets killed, but maybe I'm the plucky a red herring where like I don't get die, and he's like happily walking away, and then the monster like comes just runs right up to him and guts him. Nice. And it's like, yeah, it was like, wow, like it seemed like kind of an attack on the guy's critics, like kind of a catharsis thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. In that instance, I don't know, it just kind of bugged me when I read that. Other stories like even Jeff the Killer, like it's bad, but it's like The Room. Like I don't like it. I'm not saying I like it, but like it's there.
We've been over his like.
I don't love Jeff the Killer.
I thought you broke up with him years ago.
But it is like a part of Creepypasta history, much like the Slender Man or the Rake and stuff like that. And it is a shitty story. Do not get me wrong. It is a bad story. It is so bad. It is fan art, or it's fan fiction, like really, really bad, like high school fan fiction at best. Yeah. Not to say anything bad about fan fiction because there are some really good ones, but yeah, that's like it's just so bad, such bad writing, very bad writing. Wow.
Isn't that where Fabricating Shotgun started?
Was it? Was there a shotgun? Did I mention a shotgun in that one?
I don't remember which one you fabricated the shotgun in.
Okay, anyway, regardless...
I think we're getting off topic. Outro.
Outro. Again, thank you guys out there who have been listening, and the authors that listen to us, who have stumbled upon our show and listened to us. Do not take any of what we say like as an attack, because it really isn't. Like, we do this because we love Creepypasta. Oh, I do it because I love Creepypasta. I dragged these guys into it because I needed somebody else to talk to while doing this podcast.
Not because we love Creepypasta, apparently.
Well, I mean, I didn't really know about it too much before I got into this. Yeah, like I brought you on because of the video game stuff. Because there's a lot, because that is one of the biggest like subgenres of Creepypasta is haunted cartridges. Mm-hmm.
And I've incorporated that into a D&D character.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
like, I've kind of rolled with it.
And then, like Mikey, you brought like when you were brought onto the show, you added like an extra like a breath of fresh air to the show when we started, because I think we were running a little low on gas initially, like before we brought you on, and then you kind of brought it back up, like you filled it up,
showed up with a couple of like jerry cans.
Exactly. Yeah.
Here you guys go.
So, and I, like, even though you guys aren't the biggest horror fans. It is still good to have that kind of like that outsider opinion. Yeah. So I hope at the very least we've been entertaining over the last 224 episodes. Jesus, almost 5 years.
That's a lot of things.
And I hope we continue going like that. So thank you all.
And if any of you have gotten this far in the episode without stopping,
God's bless, Cthulhu bless.
Yes. Like. The code name is Waffle. Put that in the comments to see if you guys have gotten here.
Oh my god, if somebody actually does code
I want to see who stayed past our outro this long.
Code name Waffle is the secret password to skip the levels.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Oh, man. Alright, so this was this week's episode. I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And I'm the Gamer Neela.
And this has been Al Dente Rigor Mortis. Sleep well.